So the big news of the day, you've no doubt already seen. Ghost this morning, Monday morning, announced a massive world tour for 2025. So far, just the European and the U.S. dates, and all in arenas, which is crazy. I mean, that band has just gotten so huge. I remember seeing them at Rock on the Range in Columbus, Ohio, like 10 years ago. They were playing at, 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that was still when they were like, trying to do the whole like super spooky thing. And it was a little strange to see that at 2 in the afternoon. You know, you got this band trying to be all, evil, but the sunlight's still out. It didn't quite, the band was great, but it doesn't quite give off the effect that they're looking for. But, it's just crazy how big that band has become with the radio hits. And, I think obviously becoming super trendy from TikTok when I think it was Mary on a Cross was a big sound on TikTok. So, band is just massive. They've, dabbled in doing some arenas before. Obviously, the movie Right Here, Right Now, that was shot in an arena, and I know they've done a couple other arenas, one in New York, and I think maybe the same one in LA a few years ago. But now, full-blown arena tour. But, what everybody's talking about, what makes this tour controversial is, of course, the fine print on the bottom of the ad mat. If you take a look, the no phone policy, you got to put them in one of those stupid ass yonder bags or pouches or whatever the hell they're called. Unlocked at the end of the show. If you need your phone in the middle of the show, you got to leave the room, go out to the lobby. And then I've never been in that situation, but I guess they unlock them and you do what you got to do. Then they put them back in. And it's understandable to an extent. I mean, they did that. They did this whole no phone thing when they filmed that movie Right Here, Right Now last year at the Forum in LA. But, and I don't really agree with that policy, which, I mean, there's so many reasons, a laundry list of reasons why a lot of people don't like that, which we'll get into in a minute. But, when you're filming a movie, I guess, it makes sense. I think they were still on tour, so the set list was probably largely the same. So, I don't know how much this, this argument really hold up, but I guess, when you're filming a movie, you don't want it on YouTube. I mean, even though it is just a regular old concert on YouTube, there's a million of them, but, I get it. You want people to buy tickets to the movie. You want it to be a fresh experience, something they haven't seen, even in, relatively low quality cell phone footage as opposed to, actual film quality, whatever. So, for those 2 shows last year, still not a big fan of the concept, but, I get it. But for a whole tour, it's just stupid as fuck. I mean, I don't know. Everybody keeps saying, well, look at comedians and it's not a big deal and whatever. This is so different than that. I mean, you've already heard these songs 100 times, probably more if you're buying tickets to go to the show. When you go see a comedian, unless you're Andrew Dice Clay, who just, who does the poems, and that's what everybody, they already know, but they want to hear them. Once you hear a joke, it's not funny anymore, or it's not as funny the second and third and fourth times and so on. It's not the same thing. You already know these songs. You've heard them 1,000 times. And not to mention, when you look at a comedy show versus a concert, the environments are totally different. A comedy show, a Broadway show, anything like that, they're calm environments where, I still don't agree with not having phones, but phones are certainly more of a distraction when at concerts, for the most part, everybody's standing up. You go to a comedy show or a play or whatever, everybody's sitting down. It's super dark. They don't have these crazy lights going. It's not super loud. So I guess on that front, that's why, to me, it is a little more understandable, and I don't think you can really compare a comedy show to a rock show. And not to mention, like I said, this is the band's first full arena tour. Obviously, Ghost has always been about the image and the shock value, whatever you want to say, and having this big production and the theatrics and all that stuff, which is great. Look, I love production. I love when a band has a big production, and honestly, I think the production lately, when you go to concerts the last 5, 6, 7 years, maybe coming out of the pandemic the last few years, it just sucks. I mean, it feels like, for the most part, gone are the days of these over-the-top stage props and nonstop pyro. There's still bands that do that, don't get me wrong. I mean, Disturbed's tour last year, they had the sprinklers at a couple of the venues on their tour last year went off because the whole show was nothing but pyro, basically, from beginning to end. But outside of a few, that and maybe Iron Maiden still doing the big production and stuff. A lot of times now you just go to a show and it's just a video screen, and I get it. It's cool, whatever, but I'm a big fan of a big production. And that's part of the reason why I love Ghost. I am a sucker for theatrics, but and so I get it. It's like, well, now we're in arenas and we can bring this big production. And I mean, they haven't said any of this. I'm just speculating, but that's what Ghost does. I mean, that's what they are. I'm sure the production, the stage show will be over the top on this 2025 tour. But, I don't know, seeing it on video makes me want to go more. Look at the Sphere in Las Vegas. When that opened up last year, U2, I think was the band that opened it up. They did that lengthy residency. And I'm not even really a U2 fan, and I could not stop watching footage of it because I'd never seen anything like it before, I mean, the footage of any show from the Sphere is insane. Just Friday last week, we were talking about Phil Lesh from Grateful Dead, who just passed away. And in that video, we started talking about Dead and Company, which Phil Lesh was not a part of, but we brought it up. And so I put in some footage of Dead and Company, who recently, they did some shows at the Sphere. And, it's, super fucking trippy and whatever. And seeing that kind of stuff makes me want to go more. It's not like, oh, wow, I've already seen it. I don't need to go to the show. I already know what they're doing. And all that shit. It's just not like that. I'm not one of those people. I know some people also, they don't like to be, they want to be surprised by the band's set list, all that, as if, you just go to Setlist FM, which I'm so guilty of. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't like surprises. I want to know what the band's playing, but it doesn't matter to me what they're playing, whether I like the set list, whether I don't, whether I think they should throw in, more deep cuts or whatever. I'm still going to, if I want to go to the show, I'm going to go to the fucking show. And, seeing footage of the band live, seeing the band's production, all that stuff is going to make me want to go more. And, there's also people that say, well, maybe the sound wasn't great on the video and that's going to turn people off from going. And I don't think so. I mean, look how many people still go see Motley Crue. I mean, like, that sounds amazing. I mean, come on. I just don't think that's a good argument, So as far as the production and all that stuff, I mean, I honestly, I don't think it would affect ticket sales in the slightest. If anything, I think a lot of people are like me. If you see something is this huge spectacle, you want to fucking go see it for yourself. You'll pony up the cash and you're going to go to the fucking show and it's going to be a great time, and I get the whole argument of, well, we've been going to concerts for, however many decades now, and we didn't have phones for most of that. And, you still can't have cameras, I don't think. But I remember the first big concert I ever went to, my mom took me and she pulled out a camera. It was just a, regular digital camera. And one of the security people comes up to my mom and she goes, I'm not going to say anything, but it was the show we were at was Crew Fest. And she goes, I'm not going to say anything, but these bands playing today, these are the types of bands that if they see you holding the camera, they will come out and they'll pee on you. So I get it. It's like, well, we've been going to concerts for so long without phones. Why do we need them now? But to me, it's like, that's a bullshit argument because we've been driving cars for, however many, 70 years without cell phones, 70, 80 years, whatever it was before phones came out. And, it's not safe. I mean, it's not safe. I would not want to drive my car now without a phone. I get it. Back in the day, that's what you had to do. But we don't live, this isn't the same era anymore. Times have changed. Things have changed. Technology is at the forefront of everything. So, I think that's a little bit of a get off my lawn type of argument. And, if someone wants to watch the whole show through their phone, if they want to pay $150, $200, $300, $400, $500 plus to go to a show, I feel like if they want to sit there and stare at it through their, tiny 13-inch phone screen, more power to them. They're the ones that paid the money to be there. Let them do whatever the fuck they want. I guess, look, I'm not in a band, but I don't exactly see how that would be distracting. I don't know. I mean, what does it matter? And honestly, it's just, let people have their fun. And not to mention, there's the whole laundry list of reasons why people need their phones. You know, like I said, we live in a modern era. Our lives are on our phones, whether it's work stuff, medical stuff. You know, I mean, I saw somebody on Ghost's Facebook page in the comments saying they have diabetes or on insulin. They use their phone to check their blood sugar levels. So, you know, all sorts of stuff like that. Or maybe you own some sort of a business and shit goes south. It's like mega emergency. Maybe you have family members that are sick. I saw Rockfeed pointed out, it made a great point in a reel or whatever. You know, lately you go to a show and on the screens they have this, see something, say something on the screens. And sometimes there's a number to text, or maybe there's a QR code to scan or whatever. How can you do that if you don't have a phone? I mean, there's no way to do it. And yeah, you just got to hope that security's nearby. But 20,000 people, I mean, you know, the likelihood of being able to flag down security, if something is really going wrong, I mean, it's probably a slim chance, you know. So I don't know. Not to mention the age-old, you know, well, we got a babysitter for the kids at home, and I mean, anything could go wrong. The whole you can't have your phones is just ridiculous. And Misfits did it too when they came back. I don't know if they still do that whenever the Misfits play, but the original, you know, lineup or whatever. But it's just so stupid. And you can go on YouTube right now and see footage of the Misfits. I mean, it's yeah, sure, there's probably a lot less than if they didn't have the no phone policy, but you know, in my opinion, if you really are that dead set, I assume this whole, you know, we don't want phones. I mean, it all really goes back to not wanting people to post video footage or photos or whatever. If you really feel that strongly about it, which to me, again, I think is ridiculous. But if you're in a band, and I love Ghost, by the way. I mean, you know, I think this is a ridiculous policy, but I do love Ghost. But anyways, you know, if you're that adamant about it, then you need to hire additional security to really go out and monitor. You know, back in the day, you used to get thrown out if you were, you know, filming. And granted, you couldn't be as discreet back then when you got these gigantic ass camcorders and things like that. But, you know, if you're that passionate about it, then you need to send people out to monitor the crowd and I guess toss people, you know, but nobody wants to do that because it costs more money. So, you know, I don't know. I think the whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. And I get it. You know, it can be distracting. Someone in front of you, they're already taller than you. They've got their arms up the whole time. They're filming the entire fucking show. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, there's always an inconvenience at any sort of large gathering. Somebody is always taller than you. Somebody is always drunker than you and acting like a jackass. There's always somebody that's getting in the way of somebody else. So, you know, I get it. You know, it can be annoying. It can be distracting, but it's just the day and age we live in. Our entire lives are on our phones. You know, like I said, work stuff, medical stuff, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I would love to go see Ghost. I haven't seen Ghost since that Rock on the Range show at 2:00 in the afternoon, like 9-10 years ago, something like that. So I would love to go, but I don't know. I got kids, all that stuff. It's tough to be an adult and be away from your phone when you have other responsibilities outside of just being at the concert. So I don't know, but I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Let me know what you think down below. That's all I got for you right now. Thanks so much for hanging out. Feel free to drop a like and subscribe below if you feel like it, and I will see you next time.